Well, fellow zombie nerds, we've made it through 2 zombie apocalypses already. Who fancies a third? There's nothing better I like doing more on a sunny, occasionally rainy Sunday afternoon than being shut away for 12 hours in a darkened room with over 300 adults who have, at best, questionable grasps on their mental faculties. The film lineup was way more exciting than ever, with the likes of Shaun of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Dead Snow and the infamous Burial Ground. We're back at the Land of the Dead, or Leeds as it's more commonly known as, to complete the trilogy of Leeds Zombie Film Festivals, once again hosted by Dominic Brunt and Charnock of Emmerdale. It's here to going to take a look at 6 fantastic zombie movies, all in aid of the WSPA, the World Society for the Protection of Animals. So, I've got my lunch ready. Let's pop inside and chop on some rain.
I'm going to let Dominic introduce Berger. Can I just say, I'm just not responsible at all. Especially bearing in mind that its subtitle is Functioning Porn. Don't.
Has anybody here seen Burial Ground or is on?
Yes.
Does anybody else know who Peter Bark is that plays Michael?
Yes. Oh God.
Shame of yourself. Well, I think it's fair to say I've begged to have this film. It's been my favourite since I was 13. That's a terror. That's the one. Yeah, right. Also known as.
Well, not today at all.
You speak Italian? Well, I've got it written down, but it's not that. Please say that, because I've got it written down.
At all. Well, not cheap down at all.
See, Mo. See, bit of culture. See.
Arrivederci, pal.
So, it's directed by Andrea Bellicocchio, it's me. Italian. 1980, what? Do you even know how to say that? Hang on. Who's it directed by?
Directed by Andrea Bianchi. I thought you were a proper dweeb, but you look quite hard.
The film starts off with a professor looking like he should be in a ZZ Top tribute band, and he has stumbled upon a great secret that he believes must be true. Now, it's not explained just why the undead decide to raise from their graves to snack on the flesh of the living, but we can only assume it has something to do with Captain Beardy here disturbing their slumber. When the zombies start to approach the hairy one, he utters one of the film's many hilarious lines. "Stand back, I'm your friend." What? Really? Well, thank you for providing your friends with some easy dinner then, as he literally just stands there like a Burke and lets the zombies have a good old chomp on him. Whilst we're on the subject of unintentionally hilarious dialogue, other lines in the film include the following.
You're getting a rise out of me, and it has nothing to do with the money. And my favourite, Mummy, this cloth smells of death.
So, anyway, it seems that this professor invited a bunch of his rich friends over to his mansion in order to discuss his great discovery. Not even within a minute of arriving and settling down, the couples are at it straight away with games of Farmer Plants a Cucumber. Not bad. 10 minutes in and already we've got plenty of gratuitous female nudity.
Just as a note of interest, there's a man in this. There was some child labour laws in Italy at the time. They couldn't use a child, but the central character is a 12-year-old boy. They had to get a man who's about 40 years old called Peter Bark to play the part. He doesn't look well.
He doesn't act well.
And I wanted a t-shirt, Peter Bark. Yeah. Anyway, it's all wrong.
One of the couples don't get to finish their bedroom antics as their freaky-looking son, Michael, who is played by Peter Bark, catches them in the act. Michael then spends the rest of the movie lusting after his own mother. Ugh. It's not often you get a zombie flick with an incestuous subplot, is it? Later on, these swinging couples are at it again in the garden. Fucking hell, cold shower anyone? Just when a zombie appears from under the ground as they're getting it on. Hang on a minute, hasn't this bit just been copied from Zombie Flesh Eaters? Well, yes it has, and funnily enough you'll see quite a few bits that have been nicked from Zombie Flesh Eaters, including another eye trauma scene. Ugh. Now the zombies are certainly a more intelligent and resourceful bunch than the, quite frankly, thick as pig shit humans, as they begin to use farming tools as weapons, even make a battering ram so they can knock down the doors of the mansion. In one hilarious scene, the chambermaid wisely looks out of the window to see what's going on. And of course, as she does this, a zombie, who must have had some knife throwing practice at one time in his life, hurls a knife at her hand. Stuck to the window, the maid has no other option but to stay there as the zombies get hold of a scythe and slowly brutally chop off her head. Nice. Let's just mention the zombies' appearance as well. They do look pretty good, with maggots and worms crawling out of their faces, lovely stuff. Although the makeup is inconsistent from zombie to zombie, as some of them look good, whilst others just look like they're wearing a very obvious rubber mask from the pound shop that was later covered in porridge. Although I was rather alarmed that one of the zombies looked just like Christopher Lloyd. Great Scott! I did notice that the zombies seem to be rather fussy eaters here. The majority of human flesh that they pick up in their rotted hands doesn't even go in their mouth. They just seem to be rolling it around in their hands. Didn't your mother ever tell you not to play with your food? Speaking of mothers, Michael decides to seek some comfort from all the violence by squeezing his shapely mum's breasts, which certainly raised a few eyebrows in the audience. After getting a slap across the chops for his troubles, Michael runs away from the rest of the group and ends up becoming zombie lunch. But, like many zombie leftovers, he soon rises from the grave to partake in the buffet as one of the undead. Michael's incestuous yearnings have carried over into his undead form. And sure enough, Mummy gets the world's worst titty twister as Michael takes a big old bite out of his mum's boob. Ouch!
So let's recap. We've just seen a 26-year-old midget playing a little 10-year-old boy who eats his own mum's breast. To say that film was fucked up with some mistake. And that's Dominic Brunt's favourite film when he was 18. I'm not saying anything.
Well, it smells of death.
It smells of death.
It was wrong on so many different levels.
It wasn't even that. I just think it was one of them ones that's so bad it's just bad.
Next up was 28 Days Later, although to be honest we didn't really watch much of this as it had been on ITV just a few nights before the festival anyway. So we had a chat with Dom and Mark before popping back over to the New Inn across the road where we met zombie barman Pete and had a couple of pints. Oh, alright then, I suppose I'd better give you a review. Before multi-Oscar-winning glory for Slumdog Millionaire, director Danny Boyle gave us this vision of the normally busy, bustling city of London brought to a complete standstill, like a ghost town. Great Britain is overrun by some sort of virus known only as rage, which consumes everything in its path.
Here's an interesting one, right? There's some amazing footage in this film, and the obvious stuff to mention is the stuff in London. Westminster Bridge, central London, they're filming this sort of desolate thing, and they had to shut off certain small streets here and there, shoot it really quick on digital cameras, which is very unusual, and just running it out like sort of, terrorists really. And the most amazing shot for me is the upturned double-decker bus with Jim, the main character. He just walks past this upturned on Westminster Bridge near the Hose of Parliament, and apparently the crew drove the double-decker bus in, turned it over, did the shot, got back in the bus, turned it back over, drove off and ran away.
Did not turn it back over then, got on the bus.
No, they did it in the order I just said. That took 20 minutes. And that, extraordinary for a major film man. We shoot about 3 episodes in that time, don't we? Which makes them a set of dicks, doesn't it?
Although I'm not always keen on the idea of running zombies, I have been able to look past this criticism if the movie is decent, and 28 Days Later certainly is an excellent piece of work. Let's face it, running zombies might not be any scarier than their slow-moving counterparts, but getting past some shuffling, decomposing deadheads is a tad easier than trying to avoid a relentless rush of rage-filled humans with increased strength and speed. Ironically, as a ragtag group of survivors attempts to salvage a future from the apocalypse, they find that their most deadly enemy is not the virus itself, but other survivors. Mainly Christopher Eccleston and his trigger-happy little army. As expected with all other evil military types in zombie movies, Christopher Eccleston's character meets a gory end at the hands of one of the zombies. Regeneration ain't gonna save you this time, Doctor Who.
Come back in part 2 for a bit of this.
Well, I'm not going to let you do it anymore. Not today!
Sean?
Oh.